Yeah, all right, welcome to episode number 24 of the American Nightmare podcast. Today is March 12th.
Good day, eh?
Tomorrow's Friday the 13th,
Woohoo!
in case you didn't catch on to that.
Yes, Friday 13th.
It was a full moon on Monday.
Yes, it was the super moon.
The super worm moon was
And
this
Friday
weekend,
the
right?
13th on Friday. That's
I could not see the super moon because it was cloudy here in Southern California.
right
We had-
outside my front door, actually.
Oh,
We
yeah?
had
Nice.
Yeah.
heavy rain and storming this week. With California being a desert and all, there's a lot of no rivers around here, but there's things called a wash,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a valley or a gullet in the desert that just kind of, when it rains, suddenly becomes a river.
Cool.
So I saw on the news that there were some people trapped because they were hiking through that area. And then we got torrential downpours today.
It's crazy. You go from one extreme to the other there. It's dry and
Yeah.
it's raining.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this time of the year is our normal rainy season,
They
and we
need
are
to
behind.
capture. Don't they have like some kind of reservoir or something they can capture?
Oh yeah, there's tons of reservoirs. Actually, they were talking about building some more, but yeah,
Well, they should.
yeah,
So they
yeah.
can keep eating avocados.
Well, because
Yeah,
you don't
and
get
almonds.
you don't get rain. You don't get rain all year. You only get it during a few handful of months here, about a 4-month
Yeah.
period. But during that time, you get a hell of a lot of rain.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's
All
start
right.
off this week with some
Cough in your elbow, please.
horror news. I know this is a bit of a divisive film to talk about sometimes, but the 2001 remake of the 1960s film 13 Ghosts is getting a special Blu-ray edition.
I liked it.
coming out
I
in
didn't
June.
like it.
I liked it.
I didn't like it.
A lot of people
I
didn't
didn't
like
like
it. It's one of
I
those
didn't
things
like
that
I didn't like it.
yeah, sets off a lot of debate. I thought it wasn't half bad. It could have been better, but it wasn't half bad.
Yeah, it could have been better, but it was pretty good. And at the time, you know, they weren't doing a whole lot of like good horror movies, so it was one that stood out to me.
Yeah, the director, and I can't remember his name, but he had this idea of kind of remaking a bunch of these older films that were written by...
Yeah, and he put a modern twist on it. Too.
Yeah. So they
You know what I
did
mean?
House on Haunted Hill, which was kind of a miss.
Bad.
Yeah, and then he
Yep.
did this one, which he was kind of banking on this one, making some money in order to fund the next one.
Not so
And
good.
13 Ghosts did horribly when it was
No
released.
bueno.
But they're releasing a special edition Blu-ray June 2020, which will have
Nice.
some behind-the-scenes stuff, commentaries, things that you would expect from modern movies, but from this 2001 release.
It was they had pretty good effects, I
Well,
thought.
the thing I liked about it, the story was a little,
Yeah.
but all practical effects. All the ghosts were practical effects, all of them.
Oh, were they really? I don't
Yeah.
think I knew that.
They were all practical effects, and the way they did it is they used washed out white lighting on the actors that had special. All of their
Oh, wow.
all their injuries and stuff were like real practical effects.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was one of the last great ghost special effects that was done, and all practical, which I thought was pretty awesome. Nowadays, you would remake that movie, it would all be glowing glow stick digital
Yeah.
CGI bullshit. Yeah. Announced today, A Quiet Place 2 is being postponed because of the coronavirus.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Ah.
They're pushing it back a few months. In fact, a whole slew of movies got announced today that are getting either pushed back to next year or
Yeah,
even
I saw that.
over the next
Late,
couple months.
Like Thanksgiving. What was pushed till Thanksgiving? I just saw.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. One that did not get pushed is Disney's Mulan because they spent so much money on it. They want to make sure people see it. But I got a feeling not many people are going to show up at the theater because I am
No.
not going to any theater knowing that, number one, coronavirus, everyone's talking about don't touch your hands, don't touch your face, don't blah, blah, blah. It spreads through water droplets when you cough, just like the flu.
Yeah.
So going into a crowded theater with a bunch of people, nope.
Yeah, but if everybody has that same thought and they're still showing the movie, you could show up and have the theater to yourself, or just you and like two other people.
I'm not even going to
You
take
could sit
that
far
gamble.
far enough away from those people that you won't get coughed on.
Not even going to
Trying
gamble.
to find a silver lining here.
Yeah, like when we used to go to the movies on Wednesday.
Yeah, and
nights.
there'd be like nobody there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple movies in the summertime, like on an off night, and there's like 2 people in the theater.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I don't really want to see Milan, so I wouldn't go anyway. So
All right. ABC has put together a pilot for a show called The Brides, which is based on the 3 Brides of Dracula.
oh yeah,
Yeah, they actually
ABC.
Yeah, they actually saw the premiere of this pilot of it, and they've actually ordered a season of it, which will premiere this fall on ABC.
Like on a Friday night, or like
I
I'm
don't
trying
know
to...
when they're going to do it, but it sounds very interesting. ABC is, Disney owned, and it's a bit of a family thing, so I'm not
Well,
sure
yeah,
how good
that's,
it's going to be, but I'm interested.
It's going to be like Full House, but with Dracula's wives.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Full House with Dracula's wives. They actually have announced the cast that who the 3 wives, who the actors playing the wives
Are any of
are.
them hot?
I can't recall off the top of my
Aaron-
head.
I
Aaron
gotta
Richards?
imagine. I think all Dracula's wives were hot, weren't they? Like,
Yeah.
he didn't like wife no like ugly broads.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to convert them and have them
Right.
forever.
Yeah.
and
Like,
everything.
why are you going to spend eternity with some like fat skank?
Exactly.
I mean, this is Dracula. This is not me talking.
Plus, they're not
That's
going
how I
to. They're
think
not going to
Dracula-
age. They're not going to change in any way. It's not like they could shed a couple pounds. If they're.
Yeah. So you got to be picky.
Yeah, so there are 3. Let me see if I can find it. Gina Torres, Catherine Reese, and Aaron Richards.
Don't recognize the names.
I don't recognize the name of any of those, and the photos.
That doesn't mean they're not hot though.
They are hot, actually.
There's a lot of hot girls out there that I don't know.
Yeah, this is interesting. So The Brides, it says it's a contemporary reimagining of Dracula's tale with a
forget
vampire
it.
soap about empowered immortal women and the things they do to maintain wealth, prestige, and legacy.
No thanks.
I don't know, man. That's a rough sell for me.
Non-traditional family, originally developed at NBC.
No thanks.
It sounds like Dallas or Dynasty,
Yeah,
but
Yeah,
with
exactly.
vampire chicks.
Yeah.
Vampire
Yeah.
Dynasty.
I'm gonna pass.
That's a hard pass, thank you. All right.
I think there's a series coming out on Netflix called Vampires too, isn't there?
I didn't see that. Is there?
I think so.
I know they put up the BBC Dracula, the new BBC Dracula. I did watch it,
Good.
and it's okay.
All right, so
I mean,
I'll
it's
steer
not,
clear
I'm
of that
not
one.
going to advertise it to people and say, "Yeah, you should watch this." I watched it, and I was not thrilled
All right, well,
by it. It was
thanks.
really kind of
I
weird.
appreciate that.
It was kind of weird, actually. But yeah, they tried to stick to the book, I guess, but there were so many things that just they took out.
Oh, it looks French, Sal.
Which one? The
Vampires.
the vampires one. Okay, so that might be a French thing going on.
The Paris teen who's half human, half vampire grapples with emerging powers and family turmoil as she's pursued by a secret vampire community.
Nice.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll check it out and see what that's about. Sounds,
But like you said, it looks like it's French again.
it's difficult having to read subtitles, but yeah.
I don't mind it, but
I don't like to read when I'm not at work. Well, I mean books, but not TV shows.
Writer Ryan Murphy has teased American Horror Story season 10.
Yeah, and I think I saw they signed for
Macaulay
like 2 more
Culkin
seasons too.
is going to be in it.
yeah, did they say it's sort of an aquatic themed? No.
I didn't get to read those details. I just saw
Yeah, I
the
didn't see
little
that either.
teaser picture that they posted up on Instagram, and then I quickly looked and I saw that they had advertised a press announcement that Macaulay Culkin will be joining the cast for season 10.
Yeah, and a couple of the members who weren't there last year are back too. I think.
You know what that means? They're paying extra money.
Yeah,
Money
'cause
makes you come
last
back.
Year, last season wasn't that good.
Yeah. HBO's The Outsider was a giant hit.
Oh my god, it's such a good
I
show.
watched the first
I
episode.
fucking
It was
loved it.
Dude, the last 2 episodes, I
That's
was just like my
outstanding.
jaw was just like on the floor.
Outstanding. Loved it.
And
So
it
is
was
just a one season?
it was
or-
such a nice build up too. It was
so it
slow.
finished and ended?
Yep,
Is it-
one
Yeah,
season.
season
correct.
finale was this past weekend.
So there won't be.
I don't.
It's like
Well,
a one season and they sort of wrapped it up.
Unless they try to do something like they did with like True Detective, they're not going to be able to like continue this
Good
story. I
All
don't
right, so
think.
I just
Well,
gotta
it's
watch
based on a single book that just came out last year.
Okay.
I didn't.
But
get
it was really good.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Actually,
I watched the
I loved it.
first episode and I
The
fell in
great
love
thing
with it.
about releasing it live week by week and not dumping it out all as one big binge fest is they're able to track how well it does. And a live viewing the night of the finale, there were 2.2 million people
Wow.
streaming it live.
Wow.
I couldn't wait to watch it. It was the first time in a while I've been looking forward to like I gotta put this on. I gotta put it on.
Let me tell you, this is the first show that I actually went into my HBO app and said, send me a push notification the minute it's online. And it sends it, and bam, I'm there, man. 6 p.m. Pacific time, I am on it. I was watching it, man.
It was really good.
So good. So good.
And did Jason Bateman star in and direct that, or did he produce it?
He is the producer and co-director. So he took a
Oh,
big,
wow.
he
And-
took a
and
big
star.
role. Yes, and
And
starred
I
in
was
it.
going to say,
Yeah.
he was in the first episode I saw.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it kind of had like an Ozark vibe to it.
Yeah, very much
I
so.
just started watching that, too.
Ozark is great too. But I'll tell you,
Yep.
this show, The Outsider, just blew my mind. Blew my mind completely.
Yeah, I loved it. I can't. It's not the one we're reviewing, but I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it.
We can review it.
Oh, yeah, we
I
could
can
do that.
watch it.
Netflix does another doozy on awesome horror shows. We have I Am Not Okay With This.
Oh, that was great too.
Unbelievable series once again.
And it had two of the kids from It in it.
Yep, and it was fantastic. The amount of gore was amazing and over the top.
Oh my god, yeah, especially the season finale. Like I,
Oh,
like,
God.
I was like, what the?
Exactly. I'm
I did
like,
not
what
see
the
that coming.
I have it in my queue. Didn't watch that one.
And the
It's
nice
in my
thing
queue.
about it, it's like they're like 20-minute episodes, and there's only
Oh,
like 7, so you could
okay.
pop out. Like I don't usually binge watch, but I was popping 2 or 3 a night. Like
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
sad when it was done. I was like, oh shit, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have been signed for 2 more seasons immediately.
Nice.
So we'll see how that goes.
She's a good actress.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, and so is that kid too. The kid that played
I love.
Stan.
And it's funny his name's Stanley in this show and in it.
And in it, yeah, yeah. But I tell you, the 2 of them, they were just fantastic. I think
Yeah, they were.
they both were able to shine as actors in this show because it really gave this like just they're just fantastic. And the thing is, I went into the show knowing nothing about it. Like my daughter watched it and she goes, "Hey, Dad, you got to check out this show. It's called I'm Not Okay With This," and it's a lot like that show, The End of the Fucking World or whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, really?" And all right, I'll check it out. I didn't see any advertisements for it. I didn't see any trailers. I just went right into it, and the first impression I got was, "Holy shit, this is a
Yeah.
dark show. It is dark."
Yeah, because the way it started out, like
It's
it was
just
like
dark.
just like grabbed you by the throat right away.
And then it's like this. It's like the teenage years. Not sure of yourself. You know,
Yeah.
she's not sure of herself, not sure of her sexuality, not
And the
sure of life.
Kids in school are fucking with
Yeah,
her.
it's like, and her world is coming undone, and then you throw in this extra shit, and it's like, what the fuck? I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved the show. Fantastic.
I liked it. Actually, one of the people who listens to this show, her and I share like horror movie stuff back and forth, and she texted me like 2 weeks ago. She said, "Hey, have you seen this one yet?" I'm like, "No, I watched the trailer and it looked okay." She's like, "You got to watch it. It's really good." So I was like, "Oh, all right, I'll check it out." And
Yep.
I was glad I did. It was good.
Let me tell you, and the thing about it is, it's based on a comic book, which I didn't know either. Like at the very last episode in the trailer, it says based on the comic book. This I'm Not Okay With This.
I'll start watching that tonight, actually.
Yeah, and I'm like, holy fuck.
It won't take you long.
No, it's fast because they are short. The shortest episode is only 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Bang 3 out at a time.
Yeah. More horror news. J.J. Abrams' production company, Bad Robot, is going to be producing an adaptation of Stephen King's story, Lindsay's Story, for Apple TV+. King is
I don't know that
helping
one.
to co-write the screenplay.
I don't think I know that one.
I do not either, and I'm not sure how old this story is or how new it is, but it seems to me that Stephen King is banking big time. Like he is, all of his material is being sold.
I mean, you probably have Apple TV Plus, but I don't know a lot of people that have
Yeah, I don't have it
I
either.
bought my daughter a new iPhone, and a year of Apple TV Plus came with it.
Oh, nice.
So The Servant, which we talked about previously, is a fantastic show that's on there. I also watched a bunch of other shows that are all pretty damn good. And there's a whole bunch of great stuff coming up in the next year, so I'm excited about it. And it's dirt cheap. It's like $30 a year or something like that. It's like dirt cheap.
Wow.
And it gives you something else, another thing to stream, since we're not going to be able to watch anything outside our homes pretty soon.
Right.
Yeah.
This week we're also mourning the loss of Max Vancito.
Yeah.
You know, he was a fantastic actor. I know that my favorite roles for him are, of course, Ming the Merciless from Flash Gordon.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was good.
And
I like the Needful Things.
yes,
Yeah.
yep, he was great in that, and also his most iconic role, which is from The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Oh, Strange Brew.
Oh, Strange Fruit,
Strange
too.
Fruit
I always
was great,
forget that.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is good. That is good. And of course, you know, the movie we did not get to see, where he spoke his native tongue, that played last year in at the Frank Banco Ale House Cinema there in Bethlehem, where he plays chess with death. What the hell is the name of that movie? We didn't go see it. We were going to go see it, but we didn't. But he spoke his native tongue in that because it was a foreign film.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember the name either,
Yeah.
but I remember it was black and white. We watched a couple trailers for it when we were there to see other movies.
And talked about going.
Yeah, we were like, oh, yeah, that looks like it might be something good, and he's a great actor, and we never went. Additional news here, we've got the Candyman trailers.
Oh, that looks good.
Looks pretty good. I'm pleased with what I see so far. I'm definitely going to go see that movie.
I think they just dropped the original on Netflix, too.
Nice.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Yeah, so you can go back and watch the original.
The creator of Last of Us video game has announced that he has signed a deal to create the Last of Us miniseries for HBO.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be good.
They haven't started writing it yet, but his Twitter account has officially announced it. He said, we're finishing up the Last of Us Part 2 video.
It was a very good story, wasn't it?
Yeah, the game was amazing. And now Part
Yeah,
2
it's
is coming out. He said he's finishing up Part 2 right now for the video game on the PlayStation 4, and it'll be on the PlayStation 5 next year. But he says as soon as they're done with that, they're going to begin writing the script for the converting the story of the original video game to a miniseries on HBO.
There's a little spin-off, too, wasn't there, with the daughter?
Yeah, it wasn't that great, I don't think. I think the original Last of Us was awesome, and the remastered edition for the PlayStation 4 Pro, the 4K edition, was just looked fucking phenomenal. Such a great story, and then such a great video game.
Yeah.
What We Do in the Shadows, Season 2,
Oh.
looks freaking great.
It looks good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw that
What's
trailer...
that? First week of April?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
And the awesome thing, too, now is before I always used to have to wait for stuff to come out on Hulu, but now FX and Hulu are both owned by Disney. And,
Right, so they're going to be...
simultaneous releases. So when it's on TV, it's on Hulu.
That's going to be nice.
Yeah, I love it. Love that. Because now I got
That's such a great show.
my Hulu Disney Plus bundle. Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN all together for one price.
Yeah, but Disney Plus needs to release some new shit.
Yeah, Disney Plus is garbage, really. Like,
I mean,
Some of the stuff that
they
they-
opened up strong with the Mandalorian, but
Yeah.
what do you got now except for
nothing.
all your old stuff?
Yeah,
Like,
nothing. Like all the stuff that's out there right now is all their old catalog, and worse yet, their entire catalog is not there. Like if you sit there and go, I really wonder what happened to this
Yeah,
old
like
Disney movie.
Something
Can't get
Evil
it.
This Way Comes is like one of their best, wasn't that?
And
a
it's
Disney?
not even on there. Yeah.
That was a Disney,
Yeah,
right?
not-
yeah, and apparently they're not going to have all their everything on it all the time, and they're going to kind of rotate.
Yeah,
them.
and they're
Like,
going to be pulling stuff down because they actually have a queue up there now that says stuff that'll be leaving soon. I'm like, what?
Do they have the black hole on it? That was another.
The black hole is up there. Yes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Like I understood why Netflix did that because they have licensing fees and stuff.
Yeah, but
you know, they
Disney's doing it to
probably,
create artificial scarcity, which is bullshit. It's the same
Yeah.
thing that Disney does with all their merchandise, all their DVDs, all their Blu-rays, all their videos, all the merchandise in their parks. They create artificial scarcity, and it's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's enough for my Disney rage now.
Oh, hey, speaking of, I know you said that Disneyland closed.
Yeah.
But I saw that new Spider-Man ride looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, it opens July 17th.
Yeah, I saw like a preview of it. I forgot on what I saw it on some website. It was a preview of it. It looks pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It's kind of you actually get to sling webs.
I am going to be there on opening day.
Hopefully, if the park's open.
By July? God damn it better be.
Shit, who knows, man?
Dude, if the park's not open by July, I fear for our economy, period. And Trump's impeccable record of the economy, of course.
Yeah.
Jackass. Hey, there's only 15 cases of coronavirus in the U.S., and it's
gonna
airtight.
be down to
It'll
one
be down to
soon.
0 soon. Airtight.
Yeah.
Got it contained. Airtight.
Okay. Ugh. Let's get back to horror news.
All right, let's get on to our top 5.
Oh, okay, sweet. Oh, wait, real quick before we get to that.
Yeah.
I also saw, I think New Mutants comes out in April, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And you want to hear some great news? I think we might have talked about this on the last episode, but I'll reiterate it. Kevin Feige watched it.
Uh-huh.
Says it's fine. Release it as is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Although, does that mean, is it going to be rated R? It was supposed to be, right?
No.
Yes.
I don't.
No, I think they bumped it to PG-13.
It's down
didn't
to
they?
PG-13. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was
okay,
done
there you
before
go.
Disney got involved. Remember,
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Remember, this movie was filmed 3 years ago,
Yeah.
and
We started talking about it like a first episode, I think.
and it has been multiple reshoots and multiple portional rewrites by Fox itself. So Fox, in fact, is the one that turned it down to PG-13. The final draft that they had that they were shelving is the copy that Kevin Feige apparently watched and said, you know what? It's good as it is. Release it.
Okay, cool.
Now, whether or not this is going to tie into the general MCU, don't know. Is it going to remain part of the legacy world of mutants? Don't know. Is it going to be counted as a single story that goes nowhere? Don't know. But we'll see.
That's what I feel is going to happen with it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially since they shot it 3 years ago, and so some of the people that they had to do those roles are
Well, they've aged. I mean, they're young people. And
quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could just do another movie as them, whatever age. they
Well,
are.
or you could pull them into the MCU, and now that people will know who the New Mutants are, you just make them a team in the new
That's true. That's a good point.
or introduce one
All right.
character at a time or whatever. One more thing I just want to bring up that I know we talked about in our last episode, episode 23, that we recorded back in January. Unfortunately, we didn't release anything since then. I apologize, but Color Out of Space. If you haven't seen it yet, this is to both of you and to all of our viewers.
I want to. It's not out on digital yet, is it?
Yes, it is. It's up on.
Oh, it is?
It's only on purchase digital, so you can buy it
Okay.
from Apple or buy it from what's that other one, Vudu or
Amazon?
no, Amazon. I think they have it up there to buy also.
Ugh.
Rental comes out at the end of this month, I believe.
All right. I'll probably wait till rental.
But listen to me. It is a must see. Have you seen Mandy?
No.
What? Craig, have you seen Mandy?
No.
God damn, both of you. How dare you call yourselves horror movie aficionados?
Was that the Arnold Schwarzenegger? No, that was Maggie.
No, it's another, what's his name?
Nicolas Cage.
Oh, yeah, then I haven't
It
seen
is an
no.
amazing Nicolas Cage movie, and
Okay.
Color Out of Space does not disappoint on multiple levels. So definitely worth seeing. But I'd like to pick either.
How about Mandy? Is that good? That's good?
Oh,
too?
absolutely,
Mandy?
and that one's up on
Okay.
Amazon right now, I believe. Actually, it might even
Okay.
be on Netflix too. I think.
Oh, sweet.
Watch that one if you get a chance, because that one is
Okay.
worth it. Over the top gore, over the top acting by Nicolas Cage, as always, which makes it
I was going to say, isn't it always?
makes it an iconic movie. Because here's the thing: in both Mandy and Color Out of Space, it fits the movie perfectly. Both of those movies are about madness and the descent into madness, and
Oh, so he does play
he
that well, then.
fucking plays it perfect. All right. For our top 5, this month's episode is going to be me, Craig, Chris.
Okay.
All right, so this top 5 list is the top 5 hole/portal/whatever movie, right? That's what we...
Yeah, because we watched The Hole in the Ground for our movie this month,
Yes.
so we decided that we would make our top 5 of that. Any kind of like portal, gateway, hole
Portal, gateway,
that played
hole.
a significant part of the movie.
Yes. So my top 5, let me just say for the record, at first when we thought about this list, I thought, well, I can think of a bunch right off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Then it became a bit of a struggle because I was trying to think, well, does this really classify as that?
Well, yeah, but we said sort of portal or hole.
Gateway.
Gateway.
As long as it was an entrance of some sort to something and it was a significant part of the movie.
So does vagina dentata fit in that list?
Yes.
Do you remember that movie? Teeth?
Teeth.
Teeth.
Yeah, teeth.
All right. All right, here's my...
Yeah, it does. That would count.
Here's my top 5, because that's an entrance, right?
Yeah, and it's a hole,
Yeah.
and it's a main part of the movie.
All right, the my top 5 hole/portal/gateway/whatever movie. Number 5, The Dead Pit. This is a 1981 film that I saw on VHS.
Wow.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah. I know.
It's about a girl that gets committed to a mental ward. They start drilling into her brain, like finding this horror nightmare that she has. And then she like opens a gateway. You know, these brain, like these exams of her open a gateway to the undead in the basement of the insane asylum. And some
cool.
spirit possesses the
sounds pretty
doctor,
good.
and the doctor starts like killing people. His eyes are glowing red. It was a really cheesy movie. It's one of those movies like you go to, remember the days when you used to go to the movie store with your parents or whatever, and you know you'd go to like, I don't know, Blockbuster or what was some of those, you know,
West Coast Video.
one of those little ones in town. Like I went to one called the Red Caboose, and all the boxes would be there, and you see this one box, and the cover art was the way they sell the movies,
Yeah.
right? Because these were not theatrical releases. And you look at the cover art, and there's like this glowing hole in the ground, and these zombies climbing out of it, and a doctor with like an operating, uniform on. His eyes are glowing red. He's got a bullet hole in the center of his forehead. It was one of those where you're like, "Fuck, that's awesome!" And then you buy it,
Nice.
and you buy it, and go, "What? What?"
Yeah,
But-
it's like, oh, this wasn't that good.
Yeah, but it was actually pretty good. So that's on my.
It
That's my
sounds
number
like it'd
5.
be interesting.
If you get a chance to find it, which I don't even know if it's available on digital, it might not be. The Dead Pit, 1981. Okay,
Dead Pit.
number 4, From Beyond. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do.
That starred
Yeah.
the guy from Reanimator, and it was also, just like Reanimator, this was an H.P. Lovecraft story, From Beyond, where they do some scientific experiment that opens a gateway into other dimensions, where immediately these creatures come out and attack them. It's pretty amazing.
I don't think I saw that one either.
Yeah, that was a
Jesus.
good-
Actually, that one was not direct to video, and that one actually won awards.
That had some good practical
Right,
effects,
it actually
too.
won awards
Yeah.
for practical effects because it was like bleeding edge practical effects at the time.
Yeah. Wasn't there like a stretchy face or something?
Yeah, or the third eye popping out of the middle of their forehead that was like
Yeah.
moving around and shit. It was
Yeah.
a pretty fucked up movie, but yeah.
Yep.
Number 3, Event Horizon.
Ah, yeah, that's a good
Now,
one.
Event Horizon has been on a lot of the lists over all of our shows here. Here we are at episode
Yeah.
24. You know, we've had this on many lists, but I think it applies, right? Wasn't that like a gateway to hell inside the ship?
Yeah, definitely. That's
Yeah.
what it was. Well, it was, because
That was Sam Neill, right?
they
Right.
were traveling so fast that distance because they were cutting a hole in the space-time continuum.
Right.
And then folding because he gives you like that example. He folds the paper over and just sticks the pencil straight through.
Yeah. And it
you
does
just bring the-
what
so,
it
yeah,
opens.
you're going through a
Yeah, it
portal,
opens
and
like
then
a
it
portal
ended
to
up- yeah.
hell.
Right. Yep.
Amazing. All right.
They didn't know that's where they were going. They didn't know what the space between the two holes was, but that's what it was.
Right.
Yeah, I had read that they cut a lot out of that movie. Like some of the scenes that they cut some of the gore out of it, and they also cut some out for length purposes.
I wonder if there's a director's cut available anywhere.
No, there's not because they destroyed the footage. The guy, there was some, I forget what there's a story behind it, but they don't have the footage anymore.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That was my number 3, Event Horizon. Number 2, childhood favorite. Watched it with my daughter recently, The Gate.
Ah, nice.
Okay.
That is a good
I
one.
mean, that's a classic. You can't forget the scenes of the little guys running the fuck around and the little
Yeah, the little
demons.
claymation dudes or whatever they were.
Well, funny enough, they weren't all claymation. Multiple scenes were actually dudes in rubber suits that they
Really?
filmed and overlaid. Yes.
They shrunk them down.
Oh
There's a
man,
great-
I thought they were all like. I thought it was all claymation.
There's a great Blu-ray edition that is available. I have a copy of that, and that's where I got all that stuff. They have a behind the scenes director's cut, like interviews with the cast during the time of filming. It was pretty amazing Blu-ray edition. You should seek it out if you like that movie. It's a great movie.
The girl who was the sister in that, she was
Oh
cute.
my god! And especially I was a kid at the time, and it's like, oh my god, she.
Yeah, yeah. Because I was a little kid, and I was like, "Ooh, she's kind of hot."
Yeah. And the actor that played the little boy was what's his name?
Steven Dorff.
Steven Dorff, correct? Young Steven Dorff in like one of his first movies outside of his illustrious commercial career.
Yep.
And my number 1, As Above, So Below,
Okay.
which I think
Nice.
that also counts as
It does. No, it definitely
Oh,
does.
no, it does for sure.
Yeah,
Because it's on my list, too.
All right, so there you go. That's my top 5.
yeah, it counts.
All right, Craig.
Okay. Do you have any... no, you probably don't.
I have no honorable mentions because
honorable
again, I
mentions. Okay.
struggled to really
Yeah,
think.
but like once I start rattling stuff, you'll go,
All right.
It's good. I mean, and some of these, I'm guessing, they're not like you said, they're a part of the movie, but they're not like a huge part of the
Okay,
movie. But
it's okay.
well, number 5 is "Drag Me to Hell."
Oh, that's
my
a good
God,
one.
That's right. Yeah. All right.
So at the end, you know
Yep.
how the hole opens up and
Yeah.
Well, it even
Yeah,
starts off
yep.
with the hole, right?
yeah, yep.
Yeah, so that's good. I mean, you know, and it's dragged me to hell. So that's what. Yeah,
Fantastic.
Yep.
definitely.
So that was my number 5. Number 4, I had "As Above, So Below."
Awesome. Love that movie.
Yeah, I know it's like a sleeper, and I think I saw it again. I think it was Netflix.
I don't know. That was a couple of years ago, right? Like 2015.
Yeah, something like that. I
2016?
remember
Yeah, wasn't that-
taking my daughter
I
to go
saw it
see
in
saw
the
that.
theater.
I remember.
I think we saw it in the
Yeah,
theater.
we did.
I remember wanting to see it, but I don't know if I did.
You know, Sal. It was just Sal and I think.
Yep.
But yeah, we saw that in the theater. It was good. Like towards the end, you're like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
I have to check that
Sort
out.
of like a Dante's Inferno kind.
Right. That was my thing. It's like it's Dante's Inferno.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, Chris, check it out. Number 3, I had Poltergeist.
Oh yeah. All right.
The TV. Come on.
Yeah,
Al.
that was the gateway.
And remember, they dropped the tennis ball, and it came in one side and out the other.
Yeah.
and-
Definitely.
So Poltergeist was number 3. Number 2, I have Evil Dead 2. At the end of the movie, he gets sucked into the
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
right? The time portal or whatever.
Fantastic
Yeah, that's
movie.
that's like the beginning then of
Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
So he gets sucked
Yeah.
into medieval times.
Okay.
Right? That's why I said I was sort of grabbing because it wasn't sort of.
It was
And
a
number 1,
challenge.
I have it. Yeah, number 1, I have it
All right. Yeah.
because of the well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the well was huge. It was a huge part of that story. I didn't even think about it. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge part of that story.
So that's number 1.
Nice.
And I do have some honorable mentions. I have Hellraiser.
Yeah. Hellraiser
Yeah, that's a good
2.
one.
Hellraiser 2 really is kind of.
The Ring.
Yeah.
That's another well with her crawling. And I put Stranger Things. It's not really a movie, but it's a show.
Yeah, it's true.
And they have the portal with,
Yeah.
you know, the government building there, and they have that portal to the other side.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, that's a good one. I didn't think about that one either. But yeah, when you think about it, there's a lot more because I have a couple on my list that aren't.
The doubled upper. I know
yeah,
this is.
so there are a couple doubles, but there's
Okay.
a few that. So I guess my
Right,
list
far
then.
away. Yep.
My number 5 is The Gate,
Okay.
and we just talked
Just
about
because
that.
that is a classic.
Yeah, the same thing. And that was at the time where, like, it was kind of cool because, like you said, the little like plastic men or whatever the hell they were,
Yep.
And the other cool thing about it was his friend with like his death metal records, and that's how they figured out how to defeat the evil was by reading the lyrics.
Well, and
of the
it's
death
how
metal
they
records.
opened the fucking pit to begin with. They
Yeah,
played it
that was
backwards.
great. Yeah. My number 4 is The Descent.
Okay.
That was the one with all the I think it was like Irish or English, but they all like went cave diving,
Yeah.
and they got stuck down in that
Yeah.
cave, and then there was like those
Bad
like
people.
bat people or whatever the hell they
It
were.
was a pretty crazy movie.
Number 3 is the one that we watched for our review this week, The Hole in the Ground.
Okay.
I really liked that. I got creeped out a couple times, and I
Yeah.
thought it was a good story.
Yep. It's one of those thinkers, A24.
Yeah, A24.
It's like
And then the end, like I was scratching my head too because the
but-
ending. I was like, what? So wait a
that's
minute.
what the A24 movies are all about.
Right.
They're thinking man's horror movies. for
And
sure.
then my number 2 is Event Horizon. When we talked about that one already, and you know that's so one of the things I forgot was mentioned it before. One of the things that they edited quite a bit out of, and this was one of the creepiest parts of the movie for me, was when they found the video footage of what happened to the previous crew.
Oh yeah.
They were having that like weird ass like blood orgy where they were all like naked and like
Yeah.
like just ripping each other apart while having sex. Like that freaked me out. And apparently they cut out a chunk of that. So
That's wild.
yeah. And then my number 1 is Hellraiser 2,
There you go. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
which that another one, like the beginning of that movie like gave me nightmares for a while.
Yeah.
When he brings that crazy dude like into the matters, and then like the chick from the first movie, like her naked like
Oh, yeah.
bloody corpse just like pops
It
up
was
out
just
of
like skin, wasn't she?
so
Yeah, right?
creepy. And then they go to
Or,
hell.
No, she didn't have skin, right? It was just muscle.
Yeah, it was all the muscle and shit,
Muscle
like they
and
did
shit,
with
yeah.
Frank
Yeah,
from the first
yeah,
one.
That was fucking.
Yeah.
And then they went to hell, and that doctor dude, he became like that weird ass, you know.
Yeah.
That was some good practical effects.
Troglodyte? Is that what they're called? Troglodytes?
There was some good practical effects in that.
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was my number 1.
All right, good lists.
And I didn't have any honorable mentions.
All right.
Awesome.
So we had some crossovers, and we
Not
each had
much,
some.
though. I like when we don't have a lot
Yeah.
of crossover. It's good. That's why I didn't go with The Gate, because it was too obvious, too.
That is awesome. Excellent.
But it was in my thoughts.
Well, the Gate, I do love the Gate, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's besides being like a horror movie, it's like a feel-good family movie. You know, like
Do you know what
Big
I
Sister,
almost?
like-
You know what I almost put on my list too? I'll share it with you guys. You'll get a kick out of it. The Loved Ones, because they had that pit.
Yeah.
where they threw all them dudes
Yeah.
in, all them weird ass
And the
dudes that
pile-
they poured the.
Yeah. Pile of animal
So I
bones.
almost put that one on the list too.
Let's go with this month's movie review.
Okay.
And the movie is The Hole in the Ground. And this film is actually a foreign film.
Yeah, that was like Irish
Yep,
too,
it
I think,
was
right?
Irish,
Scottish.
Filmed in Ireland.
But their accent wasn't that heavy, which was
Nope.
nice.
Yeah.
Filmed in Ireland, co-released with the Film Agency of Ireland. I guess a lot of foreign countries like New Zealand, Ireland, the UK, they have movie release type laws, I guess, that they have some film agency for the government that has to agree with movies that are being released and have some sort of sign-on thing. I was reading about it because it's funny when you watch what they do in the shadows. In their credits, also at the end, they said co-released with cooperation from the film industry of New Zealand. So there's like it's kind of different than the United States, I guess. And maybe the United States also has some play in it, but I never see it in the trailers. But I noticed that right off the bat at the very beginning of this when they had the credits. So this movie, who picked it this month?
I did.
Craig did.
picked it. Awesome. It was a good pick.
I liked
My
it.
daughter and I watched it together, and she was very creeped out by it.
Yep.
It was
There were
creepy.
some good creepy scenes in it for
Well,
sure.
number one, it was a very unique film.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this, story-wise.
Yeah, I don't think so
Although
either.
it did have a little kind of, near the end, I was like, oh, this is like almost like Invasion of the Body Snatchers type thing.
Kinda.
But in
Yeah,
a very,
kinda.
very different twist, in a very different way.
Yeah.
But I did like it. I did like the creepy feel of it. I did like the whole cinematography, like the lighting for all the scenes.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
That added to the creepiness.
And just kind of the mother. Well, let's get into spoiler territory here. So, spoiler warning: if you haven't watched this yet,
Yeah, because this is, 2 years? 3
Yep.
years old, I
if
think.
you haven't watched it yet, stop right here, watch it. Or if you don't plan on watching it, you can listen to what we have to say about it because we are going to spoil some parts of this film.
Yeah, because it's kind of hard to talk about it without spoiling.
Well,
anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you look at the film, there wasn't really a whole lot of dialogue in most of the film.
No, there wasn't that many actors in
Right.
it either. I mean, was it an ensemble of like 8 people maybe, except for like the scene like at the funeral where they just had
and
a bunch
it
of
took a lot of it took place in the house.
like, but speaking parts wise, there wasn't that many main characters.
Right, and the thing is, what they tried to capture, and I think that they captured very well, was the struggling single mother, and like her feeling of kind of her overwhelming feelings of both guilt, right, in taking her son away from the father, but also fear, because apparently they've alluded to with her wounds and whatnot that the father was abusive.
Yeah.
So saving her and her child by getting them out of this bad situation, but yet having this guilt that, dad's not around. The kid doesn't feel great about that. The mom obviously doesn't feel great about that. So the lighting of this old kind of house out in the woods and the outstretches of town in this Irish town, and she's trying to like scrape the wallpaper and kind of and just the lighting and all those events just make you feel very down and dreary about the whole situation.
Yeah, definitely.
And it created a perfect mood for the events that happen in the film.
Yeah, it definitely helped the foreboding feeling of the atmosphere that they created for it was definitely a big part of that movie, I thought.
Right, and when your first introduction to that old lady in the beginning, as they're driving this beat-up old Range Rover, and they clip her with the side mirror, and it breaks the mirror off, but the old lady doesn't move, like she's not even bothered by it. When you first,
she just stands there.
Yeah, when it happens, I'm like, what is this going on? She's just like, mumbling to herself, whatnot. So I think those kind of scenes, the lighting, the way that they shot the scenes, just make you feel uneasy throughout the entire film. And then the child, like I couldn't tell in the beginning. It seemed like he was an angry kid, right?
Yeah.
Like he was not happy about the whole situation he was in, but he seemed kind of pissed off, like, to his mother, like totally not paying attention to her. And then when he runs off,
like he was rebelling.
Yeah, like and then at some point in the film, he like runs off into the woods, and all I'm thinking is, fuck, man, like fucking kid running off into the fucking woods, and the mom's like looking for him. I'm like, I'd fucking freak out on that kid once I find him.
That was like the scary, one of the scariest parts of the movie for me.
Yeah,
like just the cinematography. And the music, and
and the way
you see the light, and it's just like
yeah, like in the cinematography,
and you didn't know what the hell was out there, like you didn't know what if like someone was going to eat him or like
right. But the way that they showed the mother's point of view, looking down each of the path of trees, and all you just see is this long row of trees that leads to darkness in every direction that she looks.
Yeah,
and you just feel overwhelmed, like she's not going to find that kid.
No,
but. She does find the kid and this big fucking hole. Like, and the kid's like, "What's that?" And the mom's like,
"It's like the Sarlacc pit."
And it was like moving.
It was a big ass hole.
Yeah, it was like a moving hole. It was almost like undulating in the soil there, and you could hear it move, and you can watch soil like falling down into it. It almost made me think of. Do you ever watch those National Geographic films where they show the what's it called, the sand lion? Where it eats like ants and stuff, so like it creates a little pit like that, and an ant will fall into it and can't get out of the pit, and then the sand lion just comes up and grabs the ant and pulls it down. That's what it made me think of. With the soil kind of like dripping down into it and just kind of moving. Yeah. So it was obvious to me that obviously that's the hole in the fucking ground that the movie's named after. But I was thinking
there was a bigger one somewhere.
Yeah, but I was thinking it's some sort of a trap from a creature or something like that is what I was thinking.
Oh yeah, that's a.
But yeah, so they get beyond that point, and then the next night, you hear this banging noise that wakes you. Like at first, I was like, "Don't tell me this is gonna be a giant fucking jump scare." And my daughter's like, "Oh, I'm afraid," because she hates jump scares. But it wasn't. Yeah. It was. She went downstairs, and the kitchen door is like banging, and it turns out the fucking kid like left the house again. And she goes out into the woods with a flashlight again. Like the way they shot the scene was, you know how in scenes like that, typically in a movie, there's some third lighting out there. They put some
Yeah.
other lighting rigs.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not really that dark. But the way they shot
Yeah.
the scene, it was complete darkness, and all you could
Oh,
see
yeah.
Except for that
was the
flashlight.
tiny
Yeah.
little spot where the flashlight was.
Yeah,
and
that
then
was
you
creepy.
like catch a glimpse of something by a tree, and you're like, "Fuck, man, you can't even see. You can't see."
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
right.
she should have had like 10 flashlights with her because you can't see shit.
Yeah,
Right.
That was creepy. It was
Yeah, it was just the whole mood that it set. And then she was like, "Fuck this! Like, I'm not gonna find what I'm looking for." And she runs back home and calls, 999, which I guess is the
Yeah.
the number that you have to dial instead of 911 in Ireland. But she dials the emergency number, and they're trying to give some information that her son is missing. And then all of a sudden, he shows up at the door. Which to me, that's the only thing that I don't understand is what compelled the child.
Yeah, that was the only part I can get either.
Yeah.
Like, why did he go towards
Like
that
they
hole?
didn't fill in that gap, right? They didn't fill in the gap. Like he saw the hole the previous day in daylight. Understand that. But what
Mm-hmm.
compelled him to leave the house in the middle of the night and revisit the hole?
Yeah,
That's-
there was no like voices whispering to him,
It
or
didn't
like
even
no
imply
like.
it. It didn't even imply
Yeah.
it. So that's the only real complaint I have about the movie is that
Yeah,
was
I thought
like
the
this
same thing. I'm like, why
lingering-
did he run to that
Yeah,
hole?
it was like this dangling Chad throughout the whole whole movie. Is like, what is it that's
Yeah.
going on?
I agree.
Because I wanted that
Dangling
answered,
Chad.
right? Because when you see that scene as a parent, right?
Yeah.
The kid runs out into
Why
the
did
woods
kid-
in the middle
why-
of
why did he
darkness.
run to the hole?
Oh,
What compelled him to do so?
Yeah.
and I don't know that there was a hole though. That's part of my theory of the movie.
No.
I think it was metaphor. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for sort of the mother, like just like the way she felt, like falling into
Mm.
like a pit. You know what I
You
mean?
got to get
Like-
closer to the microphone.
Oh,
I can barely. I
Okay.
couldn't hear you.
all right. I know. I think the hole was sort of a metaphor, like
Oh.
just sort of the mother's helplessness.
For like her
And so he was falling in the hole, and she had to save him.
Yeah.
for like her anxiety. Okay, all right. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
All right,
I know.
that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. All right. Yeah, because that's the thing is like through.
Yeah, I think a lot of stuff in the movie didn't happen.
Oh, all right.
That's sort of my theory.
So you think it's more of like a psychological thing? But that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah,
is-
I think she was batshit crazy
yeah, and
because there was scenes like she would like if you remember the one scene. It's been a while. Like she showed the old. What was he? He was an older guy. Well, yeah,
The guy from Game of Thrones.
yeah,
the lady's husband. She showed him the picture, and she's like, "Look," and he's like, "I don't see anything." And then when she's at school, like she runs out, like nobody else is like freaking out.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's true.
So
And
I
they
think
never
she's
showed
just,
you, didn't-
she's just batshit crazy.
Right. And that's what I was kind of thinking because that's the other thing. When she took that camera to the old man,
Yeah.
he didn't see
they,
anything.
and the thing is, they never showed you anything.
Right, you didn't get to
No.
see what it was, so you can't tell for sure.
Right.
What
No,
she did.
so that's what I think she was losing her
The
mind.
only
That's
event
sort
that
of-
you actually saw,
and that's why I think the whole was sort of it didn't exist.
the only event you actually saw was the little boy consuming the spider.
Yeah, but something had to stick that old lady's head in the ground too, though.
yeah.
Right.
Like
So
someone killed her and stuck her head in the
Well,
ground.
I think Craig is off the mark on that. I do think all this shit happened, right? Because the lady did wind up with her head in the ground. The mother did wind up with the kid burying her head in the ground. The
Yeah.
mother did have her son throw her across the room, like twice.
yeah,
Like when they got into the fight in the kitchen, she flew
Yeah,
across the
yeah,
room twice.
Yeah, no, I know.
And then he drug her by the hair out into the front yard to bury her face down.
Yeah. No, I know, because the old lady was buried too.
Yeah.
Like the mother was. Yeah, so that was consistent.
but there could still be the metaphor
No,
there.
absolutely.
I mean, it still make.
It could be a double thing, right?
Yeah, it's
I
true.
mean, it could be a hard. I mean, look at
like,
Hereditary.
why does the ostrich bury its head in
Right.
the
Well,
ground?
look at Hereditary,
You
right?
know, it's like a defense.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
Hereditary had those, like two things going
Right.
on. It was
Yeah.
horror, but it was also like about family
And
angst. And
same thing with
Yeah.
Midsummer. Midsummer was about
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
psychological disorders and
Grieving.
and
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
And then you look at this,
Yes.
and I do believe you're right that it's both a real horror film with real events in it, but it's also kind of a metaphor for anxiety and depression because she did go to the doctor and talk about how
Yes,
she was.
and remember, that was the other thing that sort of a high sign,
Right.
was she was taking meds.
Yeah.
Well, and he said to her, "Do you have any history of anxiety disorders in your family?" Because
Yeah.
she was explaining to him how she was feeling, and he's like, "Well, it sounds like
Yes.
anxiety to me."
Yeah.
And then she began taking that medication, and that's about the time when the son started behaving weird.
Yes.
Yeah. It's true.
So yeah, it probably had a double meaning in it, like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the thing that kind of got me a little bit at the end is, okay, fine. She determines that thing
Right. It's not her
is
kid.
not her kid, and
She goes and saves her
yeah,
kid.
the old lady says, the husband says, you know what she used to say, the best way to tell is the mirror. The mirror shows the truth. And the old lady had like mirrors all over her house, right?
Right.
So she takes that broken mirror and holds it to the kid's face for a moment, and for a moment you get to see it's not
What
the
it
kid,
is.
it's some sort of creature.
Yeah.
So she locks that creature.
It was quick though. It was briefly.
Yeah, and it was just enough that you could barely even tell what the hell was going on there, right?
Yeah.
But she leaves the creature in the basement, locks the door, goes to this hole, and doing something that I don't know that I'd have the balls to do, just says,
Yeah. Right.
fuck.
Goes down
she's
in the
like,
hole.
fuck this shit, I want my kid back. And she dives right into the hole, just lets it swallow her down.
Yeah.
She gets in there, right? She digs around.
That's a crazy scene too, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
It's a real tight.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like you get claustrophobic.
Oh yeah,
Just watching it.
and which to me, while I'm watching that, I'm thinking, okay, well, this is why it mimics kids, right? Tiny little hole to crawl into.
Yeah.
Little kids
Yep.
can fit in there, and animals. There was like carcasses of different things down in there, mostly humans. That it seems to me they were either perhaps consuming them or they were just rotting down there. I don't know. They didn't really go into details, right?
Yeah.
But she sees her son unconscious, wrapped up in like tree roots. Drags him out of there, and then all of a sudden you're surrounded by these things, and they kind of do.
Yeah.
It's obvious that their special effects budget wasn't fantastic because all of the
But it was dark enough
Right.
where they pulled it
right
off.
all the scenes with creatures, they kind of were flashing around, moving around, quick glimpses, rapid camera angles.
Yeah.
But you get the sense that, okay, there's a multitude of these creatures down there, and they are not of this earth by any means. And she begins trying to drag her son out of these tiny holes, up into back to the surface. And at one scene, the creature reaches out to her, and as it grabs her hand and she's beating on it with the flashlight, suddenly they turn to the creature, and it's her.
Yeah.
Now, my question here is, did it rapidly morph to become her, or again, is this some sort of symbolism for the problem was her all along?
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Again, this is something that could go both ways there, right?
Yep.
But I was impressed by it. They turn away. You hear her in darkness beating on this thing, right? And then you next see her running to her car with her half-conscious child. And she lays the child down and goes into the house. And for a moment there, I'm like, why would you do that? You just went through all
Yeah.
this to get your kid, and now you're going to lay him down on the ground? And I'm just thinking she's going to go in, she's going to come out, these things are going to have her kid, whatever. But instead, they turn around, and she's burning the house down.
Yep.
And there ends the movie as they drive away. They show some clips of them at, I guess that she's going to college.
They're new. Yeah.
They're living somewhere closer to the city.
Yeah.
The son's a little older, riding a bike. And they cut to the living room where she's taking pictures of her son. And they back away, and her fucking wall is covered with mirrors like the old lady.
Yeah. Right. That was kind of a weird. Like I was like, whoa, that's a good way to end it.
Yeah. So I thought it was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. There were, like I said, there was one or two issues that kind of just that it was nitpicking at. Like I said, what compelled the child to go back to that hole in the middle of the night? That's what I want to know.
Yep.
Yeah, that was my big thing. I'm like, well, it wasn't like even like whispering to him or something that caused him to go there. He just, That's where
Yeah,
we went.
and normally you've seen that. Like in other movies, they do that. There's someone hears something that no one else hears. A child
yeah,
staring.
those whispers in the
Right,
background,
right. Or the child staring at the TV, and you see like little figures on the TV, like it's something's
Right.
talking to.
Something.
You know, you'll have something that indicates there's some compelling, force. But with this kid, is he just a dick? Like all my thoughts were, is that kid just a dick? Because he was being a dick to his mom there during the beginning.
He was being a
So
dick.
maybe he's just a dick. But what would make even if you're a little kid and you're a dick, would you go out into the black, dark middle of night? There was like no moon or anything, just blackness, to go to this hole.
Well, that was the other thing I was thinking too. I was like, well, when the kid wasn't hers, it was being nice to her,
Yeah.
and until she challenged it, and then it wasn't nice to her. But as long as she just kind of like went about her thing, it was better than her real kid.
Yeah.
So why didn't she just leave her real kid down that hole and keep this? Like he wasn't harming her yet.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's like they didn't really fill you in on what is it about her and this child that made her think it wasn't hers. And at first I'm thinking, well, maybe this is the medication. Because remember, there's a scene where she goes to the elementary school, right, to see her son in a chorus, routine of singing on stage with his classmates. And suddenly she has this like psychedelic trip where she like is focusing on the kid, and the kid is standing up there alone saying, singing in this low voice to her directly, and then she like takes off.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's
It could have been the
yeah,
medication.
is she having like a nervous breakdown? Is this the medication making her hallucinate? What they didn't. Again, that's another thing that they just didn't fill you in on. And in fact, she left the school, and you didn't know till the end where the kid goes, "Mom, why'd you leave me at school?" Right? Like she left without it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I said. There was nothing wrong with the kid at that point.
And then that's when she's like, "Well, let's play this game.
was her.
Let's play this game that we play, where they count 3, 2, 1, and it makes silly faces."
Yeah, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, he didn't do it.
And then all of a sudden she's like, "You're not my son. You're not my son." And then he just fucking grabs her and throws her across the fucking room. It, like I said, good movie. I would definitely recommend other people to watch it. And my personal rating for this is going to be a 3.5.
That's what I'm going with. 3.5.
Yeah, I'd say 3.5.
So we'll give it the American Nightmare podcast of 3.5 stars. It's definitely worth watching. I will say that it was a good movie. It
it was.
The writing was good. The cinematography was good. The overall feeling and the kind of vibes that the whole movie creates is eerie and even kind of uneasy most of the time, I would say. And once she realizes it's not her son, I would tell you, like, I was overcome with, like, dread. Like, this is not fucking good. Like, this isn't good.
Yeah, what's going to happen?
Oh, yeah, with the spider in the room. That was, like, creepy,
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
It was like, man.
Or when she
When she starts spying on him.
she had that like nightmare that he snapped her arm.
Yeah, oh, the dude that when she's reporting the body that she found,
Yeah.
the old lady, she's watching him wrestle with one of the other police officers while the other one's talking to her in the kitchen. And she sees him snap an arm off. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Again, that's after she started taking the medication, though. So is it the medication? Is and the two things that were disappointment was the child and then the camera. We didn't get to see what she captured. What is it that made her panic? When it came to the camera she planted in the room. So, still, 3.5 stars. Go see it. If you're interested in horror movies like we are, you won't be disappointed.
It was on Amazon Prime, by the way.
It's on. It is on Amazon Prime.
And Amazon Prime, when I was looking through the movies, they have a boatload of A24 movies on Amazon Prime.
Oh, nice.
interesting.
Included.
Interesting. I wonder if.
And that one, I think I posted some news on our Facebook page is Climax. I think like when it was like first coming out.
I wonder if
had a
they.
trailer
I
of
wonder
it.
if they signed a deal with A24 or something.
And that looks pretty crazy
I never
too.
remember
It's
that
like
one.
a bunch of like dancers, like ballet dancers or something, tripping on acid. They like stick acid in their drinks or something.
Oh.
And they're in this room, and I think it gets like 4G plus like killing.
That's
Oh.
crazy.
You know what I mean? Like good trip, bad trip kind of thing.
Nice.
It looks really good.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that trailer. You posted it
Yeah,
on
I
the.
posted that on our Facebook, American Nightmare. Yeah, so that's also on there. It's called Climax.
Cool.
Interesting. Yeah, so it looks like I just looked it up real quick. A24 does have an exclusivity deal with Amazon Prime for new releases
Oh, there
and
you
old
go.
releases.
That's kind of neat because, like I said, we sort of fell in love with that
Yeah,
studio.
they
right?
do good movies.
They make fantastic movies. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. Blackcoat's Daughter was an older one that they did.
It's funny that you bring that up because they actually have an A24 Reddit feed, r/A24, and one of the pinned stories up there is check out the Blackcoat's Daughter.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very good.
Yep.
Yeah, excellent. So I want to wrap up this episode by saying thank you for everyone that has listened to our show so far. It is 24 episodes in, and we're up to over 124 listeners pretty regularly for all the
Awesome.
episodes that I post.
Awesome.
So I'm very happy
Sweet.
by that.
That's
And I
awesome.
want to thank everybody that does listen.
Thank you, everybody.
I'd also
thanks.
like you to continue listening because we have plenty more shows to come, plenty more reviews to do, plenty more top 5 lists to go. And if you have any suggestions at all for future podcast discussions, any general feedback, or any ideas for top 5 lists, you can email us now at feedback@the-american-nightmare.com.
Sweet.
And we will answer your feedback on our podcast and also take your suggestions for top 5s and or reviews.
Yeah.
Also visit us on our website, the-american-nightmare.com, and visit us on Facebook.